This is the US-made Abrams, one of the three types of Western-style tanks that Ukraine is expecting from its allies. And this is the T-72, the Soviet-era tank that's been used most frequently in the war so far. As the Wall Street Journal first reported, the US and its allies have agreed to send tanks to Ukraine, ahead of more intense fighting in the spring. Abrams and German-made Leopards are being sent to Kyiv, in addition to UK-made Challenger 2s. So as Ukraine says getting a significant number of those weapons would be a game-changer, here's how heavy vehicles from the West match up to Russia's older, but much larger, tank fleet. First, let's look at why Ukraine argues that tanks are so important.
So the front lines of this war have been pretty static in the last few months. A lot of the fighting has been taking place along these vast plains and on small hills. And that's the kind of terrain and landscape that allows the big military vehicles to operate pretty efficiently.
The two main types of armored vehicles being used in Ukraine right now are main battle tanks and infantry fighting vehicles, also known as IFVs. Tanks have heavy armor, big guns, and caterpillar treads. When tanks face each other on the battlefield, military experts say they typically look for a weak point along the front line to try and break through and destroy other heavy vehicles. IFVs, on the other hand, are smaller and lighter. They have some of the characteristics of tanks, but their main purpose is transporting infantry safely around the battlefield, while also providing fire support with their smaller weapons. Prior to the invasion, Ukraine had significantly fewer armored fighting vehicles than Russia.
But now, Kyiv's NATO allies are sending more modern military vehicles to Ukraine.
Today, I'm announcing that the United States will be sending 31 Abrams tanks to Ukraine, the equivalent of one Ukrainian battalion.
So how will Western tanks help Ukrainian forces?
Well, for tanks, the most important factor is survivability.
Weapons experts measure this by estimating how resistant the vehicles are to anti-tank weapons, like the US-made Javelin or the Russian Kornet, as well as armor-piercing rounds fired by other tanks. Analysts say the Challenger 2 and Abrams tanks, which were both used in the Iraq War, are some of the most protected tanks in the world. That's because they both have a composite armor called Chobham. It uses a combination of steel, ceramics, and other materials to create particularly resistant plates. Military analysts say this